Howdy folks, thanks for tuning in to Happy Trails Hiking. Kay and I are visiting the Two Plumbers Arcade and Brewery in St. Charles, Missouri. Stay tuned for an exciting tour of a great brewery with awesome beer and some pretty cool games.
Safe underwater with diver and to do the statues and parts of the diver.
After looking at the beer selection, Matt decided to try a flight of all the beers that were brewed in-house.
Hefeweizen. Number one is the Old 42 Hefeweizen, and it's got. I'm definitely picking up the spice flavor, clove flavor. I'm not picking up too much of the banana.
Oh, I got bananas a lot.
But that one was really good.
And it has Galaxy hops, you said.
Yeah. Okay. Galaxy hops is what was in there. Okay.
Brewmaster John guided us through our beer tasting. Okay, so this is Simcoe Man IPA.
So we've been doing a series of single hop IPAs. I wanted to play around with other hop varieties that maybe I hadn't used when I was home brewing or even on the commercial side. And a lot of people that do come in here, we get a crowd that sometimes just they're not necessarily big beer drinkers,
Right.
or they like an IPA, but they're just too bitter. Well, I wanted to kind of take them through along with myself. It's like I said, sometimes there are a lot of hops that I haven't used before, so I wanted to see what I really could get out of just that hop. So it's a series, and I also based them on the Robot Masters from the Mega Man games. So it started off with Chinook Man, Centennial Man, Amarillo Man.
I see.
Now we're down to Simcoe Man.
All right. So it's just a single hop.
Correct.
And you've got bitterness, but it doesn't knock you out.
Yeah.
So it's probably a lot more reachable for someone who's not used to drinking that kind of.
I would say that that's a drinkable IPA, and I don't like IPAs.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
You find one. Or it was surprising.
So this one,
This
number?
is the number 4 up there is the
Maibach Samson. Okay. So it's a Maibach.
So Maibach is a lager style, just kind of bigger malty. It's also called, in this case, it's also called a Hellsbach, and they tend to be, more golden in color, definitely more malt forward without being over too big and bready. At the same time, there's going to be a lot of floral notes and everything else to kind of go along with the sweetness. You don't want like a big bready kind of sweet, but you still want some malt sweet from it. And I finished mine off with Mandarina Bavaria. It's a German hop variety that gives a lot of orange and tangerine notes. So a lot of the American varieties have like that big citrus, like big grapefruit and lemon. But it also has a lot of acidity to it. Mandarina Bavaria is going to be lower on the acidity and have more of that more orange and tangerine kind of sweet. And it's gone over pretty well.
That's the name of a hop I haven't heard. There's lots that I haven't heard, but I didn't even realize you were talking about a hop variety. I was like, I should be open-minded.
This is also our best-selling beer. Like if this one is on there, it'll outsell everything else.
This is called Pauline.
Pauline Blonde Ale.
And it's a honey blonde ale. No honey is actually used in it because if you don't ferment everything out, it's left sticky and tacky, and I'm not a particular fan of that. At the same time, there's a lot of flavors from honey that I want, but get fermented out. So honey malt allows you to have that orange, blossomy, floral sweetness you'll get with honey without losing it to fermentation.
That's a really amazing blonde ale. Yeah, I mean, normally when I see blonde ale at a craft beer place, I'm like, all right, they did that to make the guys who drink Bud Light happy. But that's really
not
good.
Bud Light.
That makes everybody happy.
That's really very good.
And is MCP. stands for Master Control Pale.
Okay.
Well,
Pairs very well with
Okay.
Tron, which we do have over in the over in that pod there as well. Because it was Master Control Program, my buddy wanted Master Control Pale. So
There you go.
it works.
Okay, that's a pale
It's got
ale.
that, that nice
Yeah,
pale malt.
that's a. I would describe it as being a classic pale ale, very representative. Yeah.
Centennial hops give it that like the kind of bright lemony citrus. But yeah, it's got some light, but it's not going to be big and overpowering. That's our American brownie. Firefly fans, we wanted to make a brown coat brown.
Nice.
Here's the only thing: about 1,000 other breweries have done that according to Untapped. So we found the easiest so what would brown coat translate into in another language? Brown und Mantel, which is German for brown coat, is the easiest one to pronounce, and it fit on the board.
Nice. Well, whatever fits on the board.
Brown
And
coats for the good guys. We decided to do a good beer to go along with that.
I think the aroma is one of the best things about this beer. It's a full sensory smell.
It's bready, it's roasty, coffee notes on it. There's no chocolate, there's no coffee, that's all malt.
yum.
Wow, that would be really good in a pot roaster.
Darker than some of the other browns that are out on the market.
Matt, you can't have it back.
Oh, all right. I'm not getting any more brown ale. She found the favorite.
She was nice enough to share it with you.
Yeah. I got
So these are our fancy plates from home, and our Rubbermaid plasticware with our potato salad and sandwiches, because they don't serve any food here. Which, Matt, is pretty good tonight, huh?
This is the best sandwich I've had all day.
Hey, thanks, honey. No. Drink beer, it'll make you feel better. Lost Matt in his dream location. Ah, of course. Bling. Here's Pac-Man, our Galactica.
So you have your mash in. That's where your grains and water are getting added. So basically, you're like making a porridge. And then you have your mash rest. So your enzymes need time to break sugars down. So generally, you can mash for about an hour. Every 20 minutes, since I don't have a rake inside here that keeps all the grain, everything moving, I'll open this up about every 20 minutes, give it a stir, and then just seed off. It's all about surface area. The more surface area that you're able to cover with the water, the more enzymes are going to work for you, the more sugars you're going to be able to extract. Again, that's why just breaking the grains apart is what you want to do. Then after the hour, you have, they're called like the first warm. So that is just the water that you've added is extracted sugar. You start moving that over into your brew cup. However, that's not, if I mash it with 35 gallons, I'm not getting 35 gallons of it. Because so much evaporates, so much is absorbed by grains, so much kind of ends up with like the dead space on your kettle. Stuff will drain out. Precisely. Okay. On top of that, as you're draining your water out, the temperature of the grain, the water contact, is going to start to cool down, which is going to make liquid sugars start to recrystallize. So that's why you do that. They call the step sparging. So you're showering your grains with additional water.
That's to rinse off the extra sugars.
Exactly.
I never knew that. Okay, great.
That's exactly what
I'm still at the malt extract level of
You'll get there. You'll get there. I was there for a long while, and then a couple of years ago, I got laid off in my last lab. I wanted to learn all grain brewing. I also kind of wanted to learn the commercial side, and a brewmaster downtown was kind enough to let me come in and shadow, intern, whatever you want to call it. Our friends on Square One Brewery and Distillery, I'll name drop. And for me, it started from there. Wow. But yeah, you don't, like when you're sparging, I run everything through this. So basically, you learn it like you're showering the top of the grain. Because if you pour directly down through it, you're going to strip your sugars, great. But you're also going to strip a lot of other things from the husk of the grains that you don't.
So you want something very gentle, so you don't get more than the sugar.
More than what you're bargaining. Absolutely. And like I said, you don't want to, when you're milling your grain, you don't want to pulverize it because you need that husk to act as a filter. So that way you're not just pulling junk. If everything's pulverized,
Okay. All right.
you really are trying to push water, pull water through breakdown. Okay. And that's called a stuck sparge, and that's a really long day if that actually does happen.
Okay. So it's important not to overcrack the grains.
Yeah, you just want to break them, you want to crack them, you don't want to pulverize them. You run everything through, everything gets into the brew kettle, that's where you boil your wort. So that's everything you're going to have. Always go higher because, well, you're going to lose water to evaporation, you're going to lose water to dead space, you're going to lose stuff in the transfer, so you always go higher. At this stage, this is where you add your hops. You got to boil them for at least 16 minutes. It's twofold. So on one hand, you're going to sanitize the liquid going into here. On the other hand, on the flip side of that is you need to break down the oils, the bittering oils that are in your hops. The longer you boil, you lose aroma, you lose flavor, you just get bitter. And since it's an oil and water don't mix, boiling for an hour does break everything down. It may not fully mix with a liquid solution, but it will be incorporated out enough that it kind of does. And then adding hops at different stages will give you more. If I add a bunch of hops in at like the last 10 minutes of a boil, I'm not going to get a lot of bitterness from it because I still have a lot of flavor compounds that haven't been boiled off. So if I want more of the flavor, it's going to be in those later stages. If I really want to, if I want that aroma to be there, it's going to be like within the last 5 minutes. You can add hops to the whirlpool, so it's going like steeping a tea at that point. Or once it's into a fermenter, you can add hops there and think of it like cold brew.
So is that dry hopping?
Yes. Yeah, you're just literally adding dried hops to your fermenter. So you boiled your hour, or if you want to do an imperial version, boil for 90 minutes. Boil for 2 hours. It concentrates flavor, it concentrates sugar, which ends up giving you a higher alcohol content. But once it's done here, we do a whirlpool step, so that helps to collect all the proteins that have broken down and denatured and come out of solution, and residual hop pellets and anything. It just collects everything. That way I'm not pulling a bunch of sludge going into my fermenter.
Okay, so the whirlpool is where you literally make a whirlpool in the container.
Yes.
And gets everything sort of in the middle so that you don't have to. It gets it out of the way, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the less the less junk and the more wort you get to move over here, the better.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then it'll go through a heat exchanger, which I do have one right over there. That goes into the fermenters, and when it's at the proper temperature that I want it, it's easier in the winter than it is in the summer because you're working with whatever groundwater temperature you got in the summertime, but you can chill it down. Then I'll pitch yeast, and then once it's done, if it's in one of these tanks that will hold pressure, I can drop the temperature, I can crash it, I can start the carbonation, or if it's in one of the last 3 tanks here, I can drop the temperature to crash it, So anything, so drop the temperature, yeast are gonna fall out of suspension because you slow down their metabolism. Anything else is gonna condense and fall out. But I can't carbonate in these. So I've got bright tanks in the walk-in that I can aseptically transfer everything that's in this tank and move it into one of those brights, and I can start carbonating it that way. Keg it, and then it's ready to go on time.
Ready to go. Okay. Wow. That's fantastic. I've never gotten like this much of a up close and personal tour of a brewery and been able to ask these kind of questions. So I really appreciate the time.
I tend to ramble like a madman, but
That's okay. You've answered questions. I had questions that I didn't even know I had that you answered, so I
there you
appreciate
go.
that.
So, what do you think of Two Plumbers Brewery and Arcade, Matt?
Well, we're leaving Two Plumbers. We're leaving Two Plumbers Brewing right now, and we've been sort of discussing our interpretations, our takes. What do we really think of the place, Two Plumbers Brewing? My initial response is, how come I didn't know about this before? It's right in our backyard. They've got classic arcade games. These are old school games. Ms. Pac-Man, Galaga, pinball machines, even new ones, but they all feel like they're old school classic games that you used to see when you were a kid. Great stuff, great ambiance.
Yeah, it was like going to the pizza place when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah, it had that same feel to it. The other thing that was really spectacular was the beer. The beer is solid craft beer. All of the styles are more or less representative of what you would come to expect from a craft beer in that particular style, but none of it is crazy, none of it's overwhelming. There's no massive imperial stouts, at least right now. We had
lots of kinds and lots of things.
Yeah, they do have a lot of turnover. It's a very small brewery, on the order of 30 to 4 gallons of I forget exactly what volume he said they brewed, but they don't do big batches. It's all very, very small. The brown ale was fantastic. I'd say the brown ale was as good as any brown ale we have had. The IPA was actually kind of mild, well balanced. Even Kay liked it, if you can believe that, because Kay doesn't like IPAs.
I don't like IPAs. It was drinkable. I could have had that whole glass, but I had a brown, so why?
Yeah. So it was just, all in all, I was super impressed with Two Plumbers Brewing, and I'm definitely going to go back again.
Yeah.
So,
and I usually deal with the people side of things. Matt likes the science and the tasty stuff, but the people were really nice. I mean, we got a brewery tour, and we didn't tell them they were coming, and the other bartender was really nice, and they let us bring food in, and just super great people. And it's for 21 plus, so if you're under 21, guys, I'm sorry.
Not for you if you're under 21.
But
that was another perk.
So, yep, no kids or crying babies while we're trying to drink our beer and enjoy our dinner. So, some places that's okay, but this one, it was a plus to not have that tonight.
So we're going to do some science and score Two Plumbers Brewery for our first ever episode of Thirsty Thursdays. Stay tuned.